The Golden State Warriors are at a crossroads, and the decisions being made right now could define the final chapter of one of the greatest careers in NBA history. Steph Curry is entering the twilight years of his playing days, and around the league, analysts and fans alike are drawing comparisons between the Warriors' current situation and what the Los Angeles Lakers went through during the final years of Kobe Bryant. It is an easy comparison to make on the surface, but a closer look reveals that it is fundamentally wrong, and that the Warriors risk making a serious mistake by following that path. Hey, what's up everyone? Before we jump into everything today, that like button right there is what decides if this video hits hundreds or thousands of people. 1 second is all it takes, but the impact on this channel is massive. Go ahead and hit that like button right now. Seriously, it's the simplest thing you can do, and honestly the best way to back this content up, because every single like pushes this further. So hit it now. Back in April 2013, Bryant suffered a devastating Achilles tendon injury that derailed his ability to perform at an elite level. The Lakers were swept in the 2013 playoffs and then missed the postseason entirely for the final 3 seasons of Bryant's career. During that stretch, the front office chose to accept the losses, hold on to future draft picks, and plan for what came after Bryant. It eventually worked. The picks accumulated during those down years became the foundation for attracting LeBron James to Los Angeles. James signed with the Lakers, and the franchise went on to win a championship and make 6 playoff appearances over 8 seasons with him on the roster. The plan succeeded because the Lakers had brand power and geographic appeal that drew megastars to Hollywood. The problem is that the Warriors are now appearing to operate under the same assumption without the same advantages. Some voices inside the basketball world are arguing that Golden State should stockpile first-round draft picks, rebuild quietly, and wait for the next superstar to show up via free agency. The premise is that even with Steph Curry still on the roster, the Warriors are not legitimate championship contenders, and so trading away high-value assets for a supporting piece would be wasteful. But that argument ignores a critical reality: Steph Curry is not playing like a player in decline. The statistical comparison between Bryant in his final years and Curry right now is stark. In his last 3 seasons, Bryant averaged 18.9 points per game, shot 41.1% effective field goal percentage, accumulated negative win shares, and produced a VO ARP of just 0.8. These were the numbers of a player whose body was betraying him, someone whose impact had slipped below replacement level in multiple categories. Curry's numbers from last season tell an entirely different story. He averaged 26.6 points per game, posted an effective field goal percentage of 50.7, accumulated 4.1 win shares, and produced a VARP of 2.5. Those are not the numbers of a player coasting toward retirement. Those are the numbers of a player who is still among the most impactful offensive weapons in the entire league. The context of Curry's injuries also matters. Bryant's Achilles tear before the 2013-14 season was a career-altering setback, one that permanently reduced his athleticism and explosiveness. Curry's absence last season was largely attributed to runner's knee, a painful condition, but one that does not carry the same long-term implications for a player of his style. Curry's game is built around footwork, shooting mechanics, movement off the ball, and basketball intelligence. None of those skills disappear because of a knee condition that cost him 39 games. The assumption that he is on the verge of a Kobe-style collapse is not supported by evidence. If he returns to playing around 55 to 60 games per year, as he did consistently from 2020-21 through 2024-25, he will still rank among the 20 most valuable players in the sport. There is also a geographic reality the Warriors must accept. Los Angeles has a pull that the Bay Area simply does not match at the national level. Celebrities, entertainment, and visibility have always drawn athletes to the Lakers brand. Golden State does not have that same magnetic force. The Bay Area is a remarkable region, and the Warriors have built a standout franchise over the past decade. But assuming that a megastar will choose San Francisco in free agency is not a reliable long-term plan. The entire model of NBA free agency has shifted significantly, and teams can no longer simply clear cap space and wait for stars to arrive. The Supermax era and changes in collective bargaining have made the idea of landing a transformative free agent increasingly difficult. Meanwhile, Steph Curry gets another year older. Every offseason spent waiting is another window closed on a Hall of Fame career. The Warriors have one of the most remarkable players in basketball history, a 2-time MVP and 4-time champion, still producing at an elite level. The franchise should be doing everything possible to build a roster capable of competing for a championship around him right now. The players available via trade and free agency may not match Curry's level individually, but they do not need to. They need to be good enough to elevate a team built around his shooting and vision into a genuine contender. Treating the final seasons of Curry's career the same way the Lakers treated a physically broken Bryant is not analysis. It is a miscalculation the Warriors cannot afford to make. The Golden State Warriors suffered another setback in their ongoing free agency pursuit on Sunday, as a player the team had been targeting chose to sign elsewhere. Croatian forward Mario Hezonja reached an agreement with the Cleveland Cavaliers on a one-year veteran minimum deal, ending any chance that Golden State would land the 6'8" wing who had emerged as a post-LeBron consolation target. The move continues a troubling trend for the Dubs, who remain the only team in the NBA that has not added a single player from outside last year's roster since the start of the offseason. Hezonja's profile made him an attractive option for teams looking for wing size and scoring versatility. The 31-year-old spent the 2025-26 season with Real Madrid in Spain's Liga ACB, where he put together one of the finest individual campaigns in European basketball, earning the league's most valuable player award. Over 80 games, he averaged 15.0 points, 4.3 rebounds, and 2.1 assists per game. Those are productive numbers for a player who can play on both ends of the floor, defend multiple positions due to his length, and hit shots from the perimeter. ESPN's Shams Charania had reported that both Cleveland and Golden State expressed serious interest in him, but ultimately the Cavaliers moved faster and secured his commitment. For the Warriors, the loss of Hezonja to a division rival in the East is frustrating but not surprising given the pattern of this offseason. Golden State has been repeatedly linked to players without successfully closing deals. The team missed on LeBron James, who chose a different path after the Warriors made him a priority target. They were also unable to land Hezonja. At this stage of the offseason, the Warriors' options are narrowing considerably, and the urgency of making at least one meaningful addition to the roster is growing by the day. The remaining free agents that have been connected to Golden State fall into two broad categories: long shots and realistic targets. On the long shot side, veteran big man Kelly Olynyk and stretch forward Georges Niang have been mentioned in reports, but neither represents the kind of impactful addition the Warriors truly need at this point. Olynyk is 35 years old and would function as low-level depth at center. Niang provides three-point shooting but limited athleticism. Both could serve specific roles off the bench, but neither moves the needle in a meaningful way for a team trying to compete at the highest level. The more realistic possibilities are veteran guard DeMar DeRozan and young point guard Brandon Williams. DeRozan, who turns 37 before the season begins, would be the highest profile addition available to Golden State at this stage. He is a consistent and skilled scorer who has averaged better than 18 points per game in recent seasons and brings professional reliability and leadership to any locker room he joins. However, the question surrounding DeRozan is whether he prioritizes scoring opportunities or championship contention. If he is looking for a team with a genuine shot at a title, his search may lead him somewhere other than the Bay Area. If he wants to be a featured offensive piece and average meaningful minutes, the Warriors would be a reasonable fit. Williams is the younger option and arguably the more intriguing developmental bet. The 26-year-old point guard averaged 13.29 assists last season and has shown an ability to get into the paint and finish in traffic. His main limitation at this stage of his career is an unreliable three-point shot, which he has shot at just 28% for his career. Williams knows his deficiency and tends to limit his attempts from deep, but if he can improve that part of his game, he becomes a significantly more valuable player. His ability to attack closeouts and create off the dribble would complement the Warriors' system and provide a legitimate upgrade at the backup point guard position. On the internal front, the Warriors currently have 11 players under standard contracts. Draymond Green is widely expected to re-sign with the team in the near future, which would bring that total to 12. Gary Payton I is also projected to return on another one-year veteran minimum deal. Young guard LJ Cryer, who showed flashes of scoring ability last season, is expected to occupy one of the remaining roster spots as well. The team must carry a minimum of 14 standard contracts and is permitted a maximum of 15, so 2 to 3 more decisions remain before training camp. Whether those decisions bring genuine help or simply fill roster minimums will say a great deal about the direction of the franchise heading into the upcoming season. The Warriors' inability to add external talent this offseason raises legitimate questions about their competitiveness for the upcoming year. With Steph Curry still at an elite level and capable of leading a team deep into the playoffs, each missed opportunity in free agency represents time lost in a career that will not last forever. The window to win with Curry is not closed, but it is getting smaller, and the franchise's track record this summer has not inspired confidence that the front office is treating that window with the urgency it deserves. The Golden State Warriors are not going to find a player of LeBron James's caliber on the free agent market. That much is clear. After missing out on the sweepstakes for the league's most famous free agent, the organization now must pivot and find realistic ways to improve the roster before training camp opens. The Warriors currently have 11 players under standard contracts and need to add multiple pieces to reach the league minimum roster requirements. The good news is that the free agent market still has options. The bad news is that none of them significantly changes Golden State's championship ceiling on their own. Here's a look at 5 free agents the Warriors can realistically target as the offseason winds down. The first name on the list is DeMar DeRozan, a small forward who represents the highest upside addition available to Golden State at this stage. DeRozan is one of the most reliable mid-range scorers in the history of the game, a player who has consistently delivered between 18 and 23 points per game across multiple franchises over a long career. At 36 years old, he is not a young player, but his style of play does not rely heavily on athleticism. He uses angles, footwork, and a remarkably high basketball IQ to score efficiently in the mid-range area, a zone that has become undervalued by many analytical approaches to the game. If DeRozan signs with the Warriors, he gives the team a dependable secondary scoring option who can create his own shot when the offense stalls. The concern is that DeRozan may prioritize joining a team with stronger championship aspirations, which could lead him to a franchise like the Miami Heat rather than Golden State. The second option is Brandon Williams, a 26-year-old point guard who fills a specific need the Warriors have at backup playmaker. Williams averaged 13.0 points and 3.9 assists last season and has demonstrated the ability to attack the basket, create in the paint, and make plays for teammates off penetration. At his age, he still carries genuine upside. The primary question mark surrounding Williams is his three-point shooting, which sits at a career percentage of 28%. He is aware of the limitation and does not force shots from deep, but any improvement in that area would dramatically increase his value. A player who can get into the lane, finish consistently, and also knock down corner threes occasionally becomes a much more dangerous offensive weapon. If Williams improves his shooting and the Warriors secure him on a veteran minimum deal, he could end up being one of the bargains of the entire free agent period. The third option is Bradley Beal, a 33-year-old shooting guard who spent most of last season on the injured list after suffering a hip fracture that sidelined him for 73 of the team's 82 games. Before the injury, Beal had been productive, averaging 17 points on impressive shooting splits of 49.7% from the field, 30.6% from 3, and 80.3% from the free throw line in the 2024-25 season. Signing Beal would be a calculated gamble on his health and his ability to return to that form after a serious setback. If he is fully recovered and can recapture his previous effectiveness, he would be a valuable shooting guard for a team that needs perimeter scoring. The Warriors could absorb the risk on a short-term deal if the price is right, but the injury history demands caution. The fourth option brings some familiarity to the conversation. Gary Payton-Siku, the high-energy defensive guard who previously spent time with the Warriors and contributed to the franchise's culture of competitiveness, remains a free agent and is widely expected to return to Golden State on another one-year veteran minimum contract. Payton averaged 7.5 points on an efficient 58.3% shooting last season and provides reliable pick and roll finishing ability. The nuance in his evaluation is that defensive metrics over the last 2 seasons suggest the Warriors have actually been a stronger defensive unit when Payton is off the floor rather than on it, partly because his lack of perimeter shooting creates spacing issues that opponents can exploit. He is useful in specific matchups and moments, but he should not be counted on as a primary defensive solution. His return makes sense at the minimum, but the team should not over-rely on him. The fifth name is Kelly Olynyk, a 35-year-old center who brings an interesting skill set but raises real concerns about fit and age. Olynyk can shoot threes, handle the ball, and create from high post situations, all qualities that align well with the Warriors' offensive system. The question is whether it makes sense to add a veteran in his mid-30s to a position where depth and future flexibility are needed. At his age, Olynyk is best suited as a third or fourth option at center, and the Warriors already added Charles Bassey to the big man rotation earlier this offseason. A report from insider Jake Fisher suggested on July 21 that Golden State might still be looking for additional size after losing Quinton Post, which opened the door for Olynyk speculation. Whether the team pursues him will likely depend on how their other roster decisions play out. The Warriors need to get younger, not older. And adding a 35-year-old at a position where youth and energy matter most feels like a move that goes against the direction the franchise should be heading.